So do you think incident response planning is a journey or a destination?
It's more of a journey. When I was with Marlin again, we had a SunGuard, I think it was, our remote site, and all our backups were stored there. So if we had to do anything, if we had an incident, we had a place to go and fire everything up. And we had seats and everything there for people, and it would have been rotating on the clock 24/7. But every year we would go there and do a simulation. Okay, we've lost everything. How do we get everything back up, and how do we function? And it was just
Yeah.
constant. And the first year it was horrible. So,
Yeah.
we went back, we looked at what we did wrong. The next year we went back, updated our directions and our plans, and it wasn't horrible. By the third year, we were very successful and rapidly redeploying our primary network tools.
Right. Or one of the tricks we used was we basically outfitted our primary and our secondary site to mirror each other. And it was more expensive to do that. But the benefit was we could run on either one, and we could shift between them whenever we wanted to. And so we always knew the secondary site was viable.
Mhm.
So the other way to do it is try to incorporate it into the way that you work within your operations so that you know that you have a resource that's there and always good, right? I think that one of the challenges, though, I definitely think it's a journey to your original question, Keith, though, because you're always learning things. Like every time you go through an exercise, there's and it's always the same response. Well, we didn't expect that. It's like, well, of course, that's why we tested it. If you don't
Right.
test it, you never get to that point, right? So, but it was always the same response, or it wasn't supposed to work that way.
I think
Or
that
it didn't work that way when we tested it the first time, or, I mean, the responses are always the same, right? So, so yeah, the testing is definitely part of it, and the feedback loop, and that's why it's a journey. The feedback loop is absolutely important because, your company's changing too. Think about that. Your company's growing while you're doing all of these things. A lot of times you're adding, how many SaaS applications get added per year in any company right now? So think about that, is that you're not even controlling the infrastructure necessarily anymore. And, are all of those things still going to be accessible in the same way if you shift over to a different site or facility, or, and some of them have benefits because you don't host them and somebody else can get to it a different way, but there are still systems you integrate into your back office that you need to reach, and you have to test all of that as well, So I think it's definitely a journey. I don't think anybody, certainly if you look at the big companies out there that have gotten breached, and have the budget and the huge staffs and everything else, they're not necessarily any safer, any more locked up than smaller companies are.
right. And I think, I'm in the role that I'm in, I'm lucky. Maybe lucky isn't the right way to describe it, but I'm surprised at how often the initial testing, right? The initial, hey, are these the right things process identifies that these aren't the right things for us to be thinking about. How often a course correction really does happen. And one of the things that I think it's important to have is a test plan, right? So that you identify the things that are important to the various operational units within the business. You develop your test cases and document, and what the result was. Is it an expected result or an unexpected result? And in that first series of testing, it's surprising how often you get an unexpected result.